My dear people of God, I welcome you to another series of our doctrinal seminar. The topic today is abuses of sexual love. Before I go into specific ways through which sexual love is abused, I wish to state some principles that should guide every sexual activity and affection. It is important to note here that in order to love in a healthy and holy way, the virtue of chastity is essential. This virtue is not only something for those who are single, it is also essential to all people, including spouses. Chastity means that a person surrenders his or her sexual passions to the will and design of God. It means that one's sexual desires are ordered to the good of another and expressed within each relationship. Chastity means that one's woman's sexual passions are not selfish, rather, they become selfless, seeking the good of the other and expressing the love of God to others through their human hearts. Also, the principle of temperance is essential to help chastity. It is all about self-control and refraining from unhealthy desires that are contrary to the will of God, human dignity, and one's vocation. In marriage, sexual love should be total and fruitful. That is to say, that it should be open to life. Below are therefore some of the specific examples of how sexuality is abused and therefore how the sixth commandment is broken. Adultery. Adultery is a willful breaking of the marriage bond through one or both spouses by engaging in sexual intercourse with another. It is a full expression of lust, since adultery cannot be an expression of authentic, pure love. Sexual intercourse is intended by the design of God to be embraced exclusively within the context of marriage covenant. Adultery causes grave damage to marriage and family life and introduces disorder into the society. Sexual intercourse is a such powerful act that it is not possible to maintain a strong marriage and commit adultery at the same time. Adultery by necessity does grave damage not only to the souls of those committing it, but also to the marriage being offended. Fornication. Not every sexual act outside marriage is referred to as adultery, strictly speaking. When neither person is married, the sin is properly called fornication. Fornication could be a one-time act with someone who is not well known, or it could be a more habitual sin committed between persons who have a regular relationship. The bottom line is that every sexual act is done in the context of marriage. Sexual intercourse outside this context of marriage is always a grave evil. Free union. A free union could be considered a subset of fornication. This would include a person who have a loving relationship but are not yet married. They may be thinking of marriage but have not made the permanent commitment. In this case, if they enter into sexual relations either once or on a regular basis, they are living a lie. The sexual act is a way of sealing the marital covenant that has already been made. It is not to be used as a sort of testing ground. You cannot test marriage and all that makes up marriage. When this is attempted, the person is saying two contradictory things. First, by the act of sexual intercourse, one says, I give myself to you completely and faithfully and forever, and I am open to new life. But the lack of a marital commitment says, I am not sure. I am not sure whether it is total or permanent. And in fact, I am not permanently committed. And I am not even ready to raise children within this context which God has designed. Therefore, sex, even between those who love each other, is gravely sinful if outside the marriage covenant. Finally, divorce. The sad reality of divorce must be understood from various points of view. First, it is proper to say that divorce is very sad. It hurts the spouses, children, extended families, and many others. People do not enter into marriage with the intention of one day getting divorced. No matter the reason for a divorce, it is most likely a painful experience. If either of the spouses causes grave mental or physical danger to the other spouse or to the offspring, or otherwise renders common life too difficult, that spouse gives the other a legitimate cause for living, either by a decree by the local ordinary or even on his or her own authority if there is a danger in delay. Canon 1153, paragraph 1. What does this tell us? It tells us that the church fully understands that in some cases it is better for the spouses to separate. Separation is certainly different from divorce, in that separation acknowledges that the marriage bond still exists. This intent here is to simply offer the context that in some cases it is better that married couples separate at least for a time. With that said, sometimes separation leads to civil divorce. Therefore, when divorce does happen, it is essential to seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit and to rely upon the church for clarity and for healing. Thank you, my dear people of God. By next week, we'll continue to marshal out other abuses, which include polygamy, contraception, masturbation, rape, homosexuality. Please stay tuned. See you next week for the continuation. Do well to share this video, like, make your contributions, and seek for certain clarifications. God bless you and remain in love.